Hello and welcome to another episode of Fully Charged News. Now, every now and then I get involved in a little bit of a discussion on Twitter. I've tried to reduce the amount of time I spend on Twitter, and I have managed to do it. But every now and then you get kind of caught up in something, and I've had a little discussion most recently about hydrogen fuel cell cars and plug-in hybrid cars. Now, plug-in hybrids have been really popular in this country, but I think we're beginning to see a shift. Now, they're not only more complicated and more expensive to run than battery electric, I really do think they are transitionary vehicles. Now, I've owned them and I have driven them, and they've played a really important role. Now, you'll notice maybe that last sentence was in the past tense. I think we'll see a steady decrease in the number of PHEVs sold and a steady increase in the number of 100% battery electric vehicles. And then there's hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. Well, we've reviewed 3 or 4 HFC cars on Fully Charged, and they're really good. HFC technology is improving. It's bound to get slowly cheaper as the technology improves, and all that comes out the back is clean air and water. I think the future is very bright for hydrogen fuel cells. Okay, possibly not for small passenger vehicles, cars, but definitely for trucks and buses, earth movers, trains, and ships even. But there's plenty of confusion around the technology that is summed up in many of the tweets I've received. You know the sort of thing. Batteries are really dirty, they produce more CO2 than a diesel car will in its entire lifetime, and hydrogen is the future. You know, that is a really common message I get on Twitter. I mean, this underlines the basic ignorance of the fact that all hydrogen fuel cell cars have very big battery packs. Batteries that contain cobalt and lithium and many other far more rare and expensive materials that are inside the actual fuel cell itself. However, even with all these caveats, the really big question for me is, where does the hydrogen come from? I don't want to keep going on about it, but at the moment, 95% of commercially available hydrogen is steamed out of natural gas. So it is effectively a fossil fuel derivative. It's much cleaner, not arguing with that, but that's where it comes from. However, I still support the fact that there's enormous amounts of research and money going into developing hydrogen fuel cell cars. Companies like Toyota, Hyundai, Kia, in this country, River Simple, are doing amazing things with hydrogen fuel cell cars. Some of you may know that a few years back, a certain gentleman called Elon Musk made some very disparaging remarks about hydrogen fuel cells, where he used some rude words. So this headline in Electrek caught my eye. Elon is right about fuel cell cars. Rather surprisingly, the chief engineer behind the Toyota Mirai, which we've reviewed on Fully Charged, hydrogen fuel cell car, his name is Yoshikazu Tanaka. He said, Elon Musk is right. It is better to charge the electric car directly by plugging it in. However, the chairman of Toyota, Takeshi Uchiyamada, he said that there is room for both hydrogen fuel cells and battery electric cars in the future, and I think he's absolutely right. Anyway, funny story, but here's another example of the transition from burning fossil fuels to utilising renewables. Well, it's more a combination of the two, if you like. The Norwegian company Statoil, they've recently changed their name to Equinor. I know it's very confusing, but anyway, they are planning on installing a huge floating wind farm in the middle of the North Sea to power their oil rigs. Okay, let's go back to some very basic misconceptions, ones that are keenly propagated by certain lobbyists who work for certain portions of the fossil fuel industry. I know I've gone on about this since the very dawn of Fully Charged, but when you measure just the tailpipe emissions, just what comes out of the exhaust pipe of a car when you're running an internal combustion engine, you're ignoring the massive global industrial process that supplied fuel to that car. You're not counting any of that, you're just counting what comes out there. It's a bit of smoke. Oh yeah, look, 150 grams of CO2 per kilometre. And yet we take the entire energy process that goes into an electric car and we judge it by that. So I do not accept that those tailpipe emissions are enough. So these massive oil rigs that Equinor, that used to be Statoil, run in the middle of the North Sea, they consume an enormous amount of electricity, which is never taken into account. They consume an enormous amount of electricity to run all the pumps and all the support processes on these huge oil rigs that are right out in the middle of the sea. They don't have wires coming from the mainland, coming from clean electricity in Norway. No, they're running massive diesel generators 24/7 Imagine the amount of electricity they're using to pump that oil. So they're using that, and what they're trying to do is offset a bit of that by building a floating wind farm to generate electricity so they can extract oil with less of a carbon footprint, which I think is a good thing. Hywind, a Scottish company that is funded by Statoil, have already installed 3 floating wind turbines off the north coast of Scotland. Now, floating wind turbines can be put in much deeper water than seabed-based wind turbines. So they're now planning on installing this huge wind farm out in the North Sea, and the electricity from that will run the oil rigs, and that's how the world turns. You will soon be able to burn petrol that's been extracted using renewable energy. And a little footnote on Equinor, who used to be Statoil. So Statoil were one of the first really big investors in the most stupid, the most short-sighted, the most damaging, destructive methods of extracting oil that we've ever managed to create. The Canadian tar sands. Anyway, this Norwegian company have just this year sold their shares in the company that is extracting tar sands, because this is a Norwegian company, the land of clean energy and electric cars, investing in tar sands, and so they've washed their hands of it, just about. But recently I left this small damp island and I flew to Portugal on Easyjet. I attended an electric vehicle conference there. I know I flew in a fossil-fueled aircraft. I'm not green. I've never said I have been. I'm a kind of dirty brown and grey colour with a bit of green around one edge, and even that's kind of chipping off. I'm not a very green person. I'm trying to do better. But last year, Easyjet, who I flew with, actually it was a very nice plane, brand new. Last year, Easyjet announced that they would be running electric short-haul flights within a decade. Well, that is a bold claim, but now their CEO, Johan Lundgren, says they'll be testing the first 100% electrically powered passenger plane next year. Now, okay, this is a very small passenger plane. It's only got 9 passenger seats. But when you think that we filmed the first electric plane to cross the channel only about 3 years ago, and that was like a big achievement. The battery electric plane flew across the channel, made by Airbus. Things have already advanced a great deal. Easyjet are planning a 220-seat electric plane to be tested in the next 5 years. So I just hope I live long enough, but say in 7 years' time, I can say I've just flown to Portugal to attend an electric vehicle conference, and I went in a solar-charged electric aeroplane. That's why I get excited about On Fully Charged. And here's something you might not have thought about when it comes to electric aircraft. Why on earth would they go to the enormous expense of developing electric aircraft if there's an airport near an urban centre or near a heavily built-up area, like most of them are? They're very restricted at the times they can fly. They can't fly 24 hours a day. If they have electric planes, they know they can take off and land those planes 24/7. If you stand next to a runway when an electric plane takes off, you can't hear it. If it's like 200 feet up in the air, you wouldn't even know it was there. It makes a sound about the same as one of those Dyson hand dryers in the loos. There's a little bit of, but once you're a few hundred meters away, all you can hear is, that's all you would hear. And one last thing before I go. Now, a very nice old mate of mine, a man called Gareth Dean, has teamed up with some very cool people, and they've launched a company called Non-Plastic Beach. Now, I want to make this really clear. I am not being paid to do this. I just think what they're doing is really good. Look at that. They made that. That is a wooden toothbrush. And when you throw it away, because you will do eventually, well, you could burn it on your fire, but don't, because the particulates will escape. But you could put it in compost. Eventually, even wood will rot away. They also do, which I think is really good, they do these little fellas, which are, I haven't actually opened this box yet, but this is these. Because these are, you've seen these sticking out of fish when they're made of plastic. That is wood. So you can clean your ears. Oh, my ears are very clean anyway. With that, and it's a wooden stick, just to show you. There you go, it's wood. This, oh my God, I love the smell of that. So it is called Borneo Breeze, and this is handmade, palm oil-free, plastic-free soap. There's a bit of that. That one is silk dental floss. That is silk. Oh, you don't do that, you pull out. And it's not in a plastic throwaway tub. You can get the replacements to go in there of the silk thread, and it goes in a little glass thing. That's good. Nice nice metal soap dish, not plastic. And this This is very nice. I think some of you have seen these before, but that is a thermos. So that keeps drinks cool and hot, and it's not made of plastic, and you don't throw it away, you wash it out and use it again. I just want to say that I grew up in a world where we didn't throw stuff away. Single-use plastic is a fairly recent invention, and I think it's got to be an invention that we look at in museums and go, oh my God, they used to use single-use plastic, i.e. you bought a bottle and you just used it once and then you threw it away. It is insane. We're all guilty of doing it. I am too. We have a plastic recycling bag that we put out for the bin men, and it's full of plastic, which we've used once, buying milk. It's insane. We've got to stop. Anyway, that's enough. I'm going to do a quick shout out to some supremely generous Patreon supporters who support Fully Charged for $10 a month or more. Wait a minute, just before I start. God, I love that soap smell. I'm going to go and have a wash in a moment. They are Jason Holdcroft, Garth Berry, Michael Carter, Mark Walters, Andrei Mochalov, Anze Cesar, Eddie Kessler, Martin Welzel, Sven Onestat, and Peter Heritage. Thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it. That's what keeps this show going. Please do have a look at the little Patreon link beneath this video. Please do subscribe to Fully Charged. And as always, if you have been, thank you for watching.